What's happening, team? Today we are breaking down what a training cycle is and periodization training and why all this is the most effective way of training. After working with thousands of athletes over the years, I've discovered a couple of things that make someone be successful with consistency. Not getting bored and having variety. Of course, it helps to get results and see progress, and periodization training following a training cycle is one of the best ways to accomplish that. That's what we're getting into today, guys. So if you're new around here, be sure to go ahead and subscribe and like this video because we put out awesome content all the time. This channel is geared to help you get stronger, faster, and improve your performance. So let's get straight into the video. So what is a training cycle? At K-Squared Fitness, we oftentimes follow 7-week training blocks. A training block or a training cycle can be looked at as basically like a short-term goal. I'm going to commit to this block of training, in our case 7 weeks, and it's a way to get focused and dialed in. Depending on what we're trying to accomplish and what we're working on, we are trying to get better and more efficient at this particular skill set. I'm going to use a very basic example of a strength test and a very basic example of a conditioning test just to help facilitate what I'm trying to explain here. So let's say week 1, day 1, everyone's joined the cycle. We're all starting at the same exact baseline, so everyone is gathering baseline data. Let's say in day 1, our goal is to test our 5-rep max back squat. So you and I both, and everyone will have different numbers, and I might say take 12 minutes to build to a 5-rep max back squat. So you, after going through a thorough warm-up and all those things that we provide within our program, you might do 135, 155, 185, 205, whatever numbers you're at. Let's pretend you got to 175 pounds for your 5-rep max back squat. That's during week 1, and then since we follow a 7-week progression, week 1 we gather our baseline data. Week 2 through 6, we're working on getting you stronger, working on physical adaptation, doing exercises that are going to promote to help you feel more confident and get stronger in that percentage. Gradually increasing the weight, progressively overloading to get stronger, so that when we retest that exact same thing in week 7, we retest it. 5-rep max back squat, can you accomplish 180 or 185 or 190? You're just using it as an opportunity to test something, work on that throughout the 7 weeks, and then retest it. Then you can ask yourself what went well, what worked, because what doesn't get tested and measured, you have no way to track it. So you want to be dialed in. That's what a training cycle is. So that's an example of a strength test. An example of a conditioning test might be, hey, run 1 mile today. How fast can you do it? 7 weeks later, after doing all these different drills and all these different workouts, can you go from an 8:30 mile to an 8-minute mile? We're just trying to faster and more proficient at those skill sets. And the reason why training cycles works is because it gives you an opportunity to look back on stuff. If you're just going into the gym and just working out on a daily basis, going in, going out, getting a great workout, that's great and all. But when you look back on the progress that you've made, that's what's going to help you stay encouraged, stay motivated. You're tracking something, you're seeing progress, you're seeing results. Oh man, I did 175 on week 1, week 7, I did 200 freaking pounds. How good is that going to feel? It's going to feel incredible. And one of the things that I found is most people's attention span is maybe 4 to 5 weeks, and they start to get bored and looking for something different. But the reason why we've settled in on 7 weeks is because right around 4 or 5 weeks, mentally you're like, oh man, the training cycle's coming up. I want to be able to retest and get a better number. So let me stay strong. Let me stay consistent so that when I retest, my numbers are improved. It's ingrained in you to want to get better and to see progress. So we found that sweet line of 7 weeks to be extremely successful. And there's a ton of different ways to measure data or success. There's objective data, there's subjective data. Objective data is everything that we've talked about so far when we're talking about how a training cycle works. It's, okay, you did 175, you did 185. You're talking about actual numbers, actual records, statistics, all stuff that numbers don't lie type thing. Your weight went from this and now it's that. But one thing that's so great about when you're exercising, when you're working out, there's subjective data as well. Say you committed to a 7-week training block and you haven't exercised that much and you've gotten a lot more consistent. Well, heck, now you feel a lot better. You've got more energy, you're sleeping better, you've got some more confidence now in front of your spouse or in your business meetings or whatever you're doing. All of those type of things go directly in hand with feeling better as a result of what your hard work and training does. So working out isn't everything, but working out helps you thrive in your life. You know, personally be able to do anything I want to sports-wise and not get tired. If I want to go play football or basketball, I want to be able to go do it. And if this is all sounding really awesome and you're like, dude, I want to be a part of the next training cycle, we are kicking one off every 7 weeks. So if you head over to ksquaredfitness.com, I've got a form right there when you land on the homepage. You can tell me what you're interested in: strength training, running, gymnastics, CrossFit. I don't know what you're into, but fill out the form and that'll notify me that you want to be let known when the next training cycle is. But this last little nugget is for people that really want to get the big picture, like why are we doing this? Where did this come from? Or maybe even other coaches that are watching this. But it's about macro, meso, and micro cycles. A macro cycle is the big picture. We're taking a step back and we're saying, what are we trying to accomplish? I'm just going to use, for example, the CrossFit Open, since I like to compete in CrossFit, but this can be applied to Ironman training, a half marathon, powerlifting, whatever the case may be. But you pick a date. I'm just going to call it January 1 to make it really easy. January 1 is my big event date. So I work backwards from that, able to peak and be at top performance on January 1. So that is a full annual outlook of what a macro cycle is. A mesocycle is what we talked about earlier. Those different training blocks, or in our case, 7-week training blocks, where we're trying to work on something throughout the calendar year, and each cycle it changes a little bit. It could be we're trying to work on top end strength or muscular endurance or improving your aerobic capacity. Each cycle will have a different training intention or focus, and those mesocycles make up a macro cycle. Right? You with me, right? So what's the next step down below that? It's microcycles. Microcycles are probably what's one of the most important things. We got the big picture. This is my goal. We got our focus throughout the calendar year in these 7-week blocks. And then the microcycles is what we are doing on a daily and a weekly basis. So that's where the magic is, because if we do the test on week 1 and we get the 5-rep max back squat, what are we doing from weeks 2 through 6 that's actually going to help us have that physical adaptation and see change in progress? That's the microcycle. Week to week, progressing to get physical adaptation. What drills are we adding in? What does each week look like? What progressions are we taking place? All of those things is what makes up a solid training cycle. So that's it for today, guys. If you have any other questions, you can drop them down in the comments below. Not subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to get stronger, faster, and improve your performance. We'd love to have you. So if you haven't already, head over to ksquaredfitness.com. We've got awesome training plans, and your first week is actually free. Hope to see you guys on the other side.